Find yourself making an impact?
Technology is a river that flows through every aspect of an organization, and today is different. We put ourselves and our organizations literally at risk of complete destruction every single time we get online.
One click, one distraction is all it takes.
Hi, Cybercrime Junkies. This is your host, David Morrow, along with co-host Mark Mosher.
Come join us as we explore our research into these blockbuster, true cybercrime stories,
along with interviews of leaders who built and protect great brands. And now the show. Hey, welcome everybody to Cybercrime Junkies. I'm your host, David Morrow, and we are joined today by the illustrious Mike Miller and David Meece. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you guys? David, you able to hear us? Everything good?
I can.
Oh, fantastic! Right at the moment, we were having a little AV issues right before we went live, and
right on.
Fantastic. Way to come in right at the wire, man. So for those, today we're going to talk about LinkedIn top practices, making the most out of LinkedIn. We're really excited. For those, if you're on the platform, you're understanding, most people want to get more out of it, right? They want to really leverage it. People struggle to either post content. They don't know what to say, how to say it, how to use it. And there's so much benefit. And two of the people that we've seen in the past year, just exponential growth and followers and just great content, helping people break into cybersecurity, advance their careers, are both Mike Miller and David Meece. So, gentlemen, welcome. We're really excited about having you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
No, this is great. So just for those that maybe haven't met you, maybe we'll start with Mike. Just tell the listeners kind of what your current role is, and then we'll get into some of the main categories to address the most out of LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. Currently, I am VCISO for a company out of Pennsylvania called Appalachia Technologies. We just got, I think it's like fifth or sixth year in a row. The company that I work for has been awarded in the top 250 MSSPs in the U.S. So
that's fantastic! Congratulations!
Just got it again this year, so we're really excited about it. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. So we're with All Covered, which is kind of Kaminolta's MSSP. So we're right in those ranks with you. We love the work that MSSPs do. Awesome. And you guys are just phenomenal. I read a lot of your work. And David, no, it's fantastic. And then you've got some other things going too. We're going to get to that in just a second. David, tell everybody that might not know you, how anybody doesn't know who you two guys are. I don't know, but walk us through kind of what your current role is.
Yeah, absolutely. Currently, I work in a security operations center, so I'm basically looking at the glass, making sure, checking anomalies, threats, scanning IP addresses coming in.
Doing the good work of the blue team, right?
Yeah, the blue team, like threat hunting, things like that. And before I just broke in the cyber industry about 6 months ago, and before that I'd done a little bit of IT work and then some system admin work. Then I went on to get my security certification, and then just kept going and kept pushing myself, and landed at a really good company, Ideal Integrations.
That's fantastic. And you're there in Kentucky, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. That's great, man. So let's talk. Both of you guys have had stellar results and have huge followings on LinkedIn, and the content and the engagement that you guys have with the platform in general, in people from various different verticals, is phenomenal. but then you guys also do a lot with helping people break into cybersecurity, the field of cybersecurity, because there's such great need, right? And it's such a vast field in practice. So the void that you guys are filling is absolutely critical, both for people's personal careers and for the country, because we need that skill set. So let's talk about LinkedIn. Let's talk about some of the best practices. Let's start from the top. Walk us through like the importance of that SSI score. Like, what does it mean? There's like 4 categories, right? So, Mike, why don't you kind of just tell us about like how do people, like, what's a good SSI score? Let's start there.
It's a tough one. So, and I'll back up a little bit. So, I wasn't even aware of the whole SSI score thing until maybe 6 months ago, right? Didn't even know it existed. Saw a link somewhere. I clicked and I'm like, oh, I guess I have a score. Mine was in like, I'm going to say mine hangs between 70 and 80, somewhere around there, normally high 70s. You're right. There are 4 categories, and I was actually just looking this up. So they break it down into 4 things. They break it down into, they call it establish your professional brand. They find the right people, engage with insights, and build relationships. Now, before we go any further, we've been trying, some of us creators, we work together and we talk a lot, right? And we do different tests and so on. And, we really haven't been able to prove real hard exactly like what the threshold is for what your score has to be for certain results. And sometimes even if it's even related to it, right? But I will say there does seem to be a trend of if your score kind of peaks the 70s, there seems to be a little bit of a spike in traffic, right? I will say I don't really look at these 4 categories and say, okay, I got to work on build relationships harder. I got to work on engaging with insights harder. For me, it's organic, right? I feel like if someone is just being organic and they're showing up to the party every day, right? They're getting engaged. Right. And I say, LinkedIn is like a local networking event, but it's, worldwide. Like if you're running to the center of the room, introducing yourself and getting your name out there, obviously your SSI is going to creep up, which is beneficial. So I think it's definitely reflective, but I can't tell you like, hey, it's got to be this, or if you're only a 40 that, you're going to have bad results, because I really don't think that's the case.
No, yeah, my understanding is that it's pretty fluid, right? Like there's some activity that you can do to boost that score, and there's some data out there from what I've read about how it's related to the traffic that you can get when you make posts, right? And the reason traffic's important, right, is because when you have something to say and you spend the time crafting a post, you just want people to engage with it, right? Like it's not about being vain. It's not about vanity or anything else. It's just about like, I want to hear what people have to say. I'm asking a question, right? And if nobody gets to see your post, no one's going to be able to chime in, right?
You're exactly right. Yeah. If we all have a message and our message does because of course when I post, I want it to reach as many people as possible, not so I can say, hey, I have X amount of followers or this post got so many impressions. It's, hey, you know what? People have heard my message. It's no fun talking to an empty auditorium, and it doesn't do anybody any good. So it has to reach people to be able to be effective and make change.
Yeah. Well, and the 4 categories, like you mentioned, one is establishing a personal brand. And that's pretty self-explanatory, I would think, right? Picking your niche, articulating your profile, your content, your images about your brand, about what it is that
having a complete profile, having a
right. Yeah, and it's amazing how many people that are so good professionally, right, and in their careers, really don't leverage LinkedIn very well. Like you look at their LinkedIn profile and you're like scratching your head. You're like, wow, the person is really impressive in person, and their LinkedIn profile is not. And it's just, people are going to look anyway. You might as well just take the time to make that match who you are in real life. Right?
Absolutely. It's like, I always tell people, and I've looked at numbers and I've counted, and I've done like my own statistics. I don't know if these are real or not, but I have found in my studies over the past year, literally about 95% of people out there don't have their profile filled out correctly or to its fullest potential. So I tell people all the time when I'm mentoring them, if you just fill out your profile to its fullest capacity, use every feature that they give you, that takes you to the top 5%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one stat that I came across, and you guys can tell me if this is off. And there's a ton of, we're doing a live stream right now. There's a ton of listeners and attendees that are chiming in. So if you guys know, I can even throw the chat overlay in here. But if you guys know some of the stats, share them with us, and we'll address it live here. One stat I came across was like over 90% of the users on LinkedIn, and there's over 800 million of them, right? But over 90% don't post. They're really just they're absorbing, they're consuming. So when I hear that stat, and I'm like, an overwhelming majority don't even post. They don't know what to say, right? What a great opportunity to start, right? What a great opportunity to just share a story. Like we all have life lessons. We all have things that we've struggled with in the past and we learned something about, right? That's share those vulnerability stories on LinkedIn. Tell us the life lesson. Oh my gosh, like you'll get a bunch of followers and things. It's not even about that, but it'll increase your reach, and then people will get to know you better, right?
Absolutely.
Especially post-pandemic, we don't have a lot of conventions all at the same that we can all go and hang out in person. We don't have a big water cooler we can all take a break and go hang out with. So LinkedIn is really that water cooler where we're able to kind of chat with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And that's how this guy below me, Meece, I'm going to talk about him for a second because I think I bring him up once a day when I'm mentoring people, or at least once an evening, right? So, David, how long have you had your job now?
Go ahead. Sorry, I thought I'm David too. So I was like, did you just ask me a question?
I'll point.
Yeah, there we go. David.
6 months now.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that I'll just call him Meece from now on. So Meece was all over LinkedIn before he even had his first job in InfoSec, right? And
that's fantastic.
The reason that he was gaining the followers and gaining the traction is because he's transparent, right? He talked about his journey, and even though he didn't have his first job in cybersecurity yet, he was talking about what he had to do to get through a security plus. He was talking about his journey every day. So even though he wasn't quite where he wanted to be yet, he was using the information they already knew and sharing that out for people that wanted to be at least as far as he was, right? So it's just like you said, David, it's just about being transparent, being authentic, putting yourself out there on a platform. No one likes logos. And when I say that, people tend to, the worst thing you can do on LinkedIn is sell, right? The worst thing you can do is be a salesman because people will be gone. And I don't sell a product on here, right? Every once in a while I mention, hey, I wrote a book, right? But that's not why I'm here. I'm here just to help people and, just try to make a difference. And if so many people would use the knowledge they have to help others along the way, people would gain trust in them, interact with their posts and so on. If you're just real and transparent on this platform, you don't have to sell anything because the truth is I make sales through this platform for my company, but without ever mentioning my company barely because they check out my profile. So it's done passively, right? But as soon as I sling out there, hey, I got this killer deal on a pen test, right? Everybody's gone because, we're just another logo at that point.
Well, and it's a group of professionals too. Everybody is doing something. They're producing something. They're selling something, right? And I don't think that people want to be. People want to consume. They want to learn something, right? They want to learn about people. They want to learn about something in the news. It's a news source as well as a resource of, I want to go learn something. Where do I turn? Right. And they're able to find these lists that come out. David Meece, you're phenomenal with you, Will Broom, Morgan, Hamlin. You guys all have such phenomenal, those lists that come out with, like, if you want to learn pen testing, there's all these lists of ways to do it. You want to break into cybersecurity, there's all these open source resources. There's OSINT. There's all these those lists are gold. Like, it's phenomenal resources, right? It's really good. So when we're talking about the profile, right, it's really key to use up that real estate, right? That banner in the back. And you can go, there's platforms out there. There's Canva that you can use to really design a good LinkedIn background. That's really key, right? And then there's also something about asking people to click the bell on your profile. What does that do? Can you guys explain that?
David, go for it, buddy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, once you click the bell, I mean, it'll put your post in their feed, you know, just as soon as you post. Or like, if you want to hear like all of their posts, you have the option to click like top post, or do you want to hear like all posts? I usually do like all posts. That way I don't miss anything, especially from people that I follow.
Right. So that's really key. And there's an algorithm report that came out that has like some analysis of how it works, and some of that people might find to be accurate or not. I don't really have an opinion. It was kind of interesting though, because it said if you're speaking with somebody or you comment on a post of somebody, then the odds increase basically. That you're going to see more content from them, which is interesting. The more it makes sense, right? The more you engage with somebody, the more you're going to start to see their content.
Yeah. If you use the same, you're exactly right. So LinkedIn wants, first of all, they want you to stay on a platform, and they want organic conversation, right? I've mentored people that have like decided to go out and write a script to like the post. I'm like, no, like, you're not getting it. It is about organic conversation. So if you think, and I say this all the time, people probably get tired of me hearing it. If you think of LinkedIn as, you know, kind of that professional party where I'm literally like, I'm an extreme extrovert, if anyone can tell. I'm that guy, man. I run to the center of the room.
With great socks, with phenomenal socks.
None today. Thanks. But yeah, I'm that guy that, like, I run to the center of the room to shake hands with as many people as I can, because at the end of the day, I want them to just remember who I was. So if you think about that, how do you do that on this platform? You engage with people, not just once or twice. You engage with them constantly. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, when I post, I have, you know, a couple hundred people that, like, I just know that they're going to be there within the first 15 minutes. And I know who they are, not because I know them physically, but because they show up every single day. So, like, I mean, they're pretty much a friend at this point because we communicate and things like that. And Meece has the same thing, right? When I post, he's there. When he posts, I'm there, and it's a community. So if you treat it like that, you know, I don't really think about the algorithm a whole lot.
I don't.
It's just either. I know, man. I'm just myself. I have fun, and but I plug away at my keyboard a lot.
Right. You know, you was talking earlier about the SSI score, where it was like categorized in 4 different categories. And I was like, Mike, what you said, Mike, I didn't even know like anything about it until just a few months ago. And I've only like logged in to check my score like twice, and it's been like in the 70s. You know, I don't even keep score. You know, the best thing you can do is just be like yourself, organic, comment, like post. You know, just keep being
Selfies.
consistent.
Selfies.
Yeah, selfies. and
I'm
and
gonna pick on Kevin for a minute because he's
Oh.
here. I see him over in the. I'm pointing the wrong way because this is reverse.
Yeah.
He's over here in the side. I've been friends with him for a long time now, and he runs an awesome YouTube channel and so on too.
Kevin.
So
Yeah.
he's really stepped up his selfie game. But it is just about again, people want to. They can't resonate with a logo. They can't resonate with things like that. They want to see a person, right? And there's nothing wrong with putting yourself out there. Some people are comfortable with doing that, which you don't have to at all. But the more real you can be on a platform, I'm telling you, the more success you're going to have.
Absolutely. And so let's talk about. So we've kind of touched on the profile, right? What significance does the profile heading have? That first line, right? So you've got clearly have a professional photo, right?
Yep.
Don't have it cut out of some other photo like at a wedding or something like that, right? Just at least even take it with your phone, right? Just have a decent picture there. Use that banner, that back banner to kind of explain what your brand is, right? And then that first kind of heading really a lot of people talk about it. What's the significance of that?
Second most important thing on your profile. First thing is your profile picture, as you've talked. Second thing, in my opinion, is the headline, right? Because the average person, and I've asked so many people this over the past year, because I want to know this stuff, right? How much time do you spend on looking at a profile? From just soft polls that I've taken, the average person is going to spend about 30 seconds on your profile before they decide to click off or click further into your profile.
Yep.
And your eyes automatically, because that's how we're taught to read, we're at the top left. So first two things, profile picture and headline.
So it's really important. And when you're crafting it, really, the point is what would somebody that's reading it get out of it, right? Like when I read yours and I read David's, like it shows me you guys help people break into cybersecurity. You guys help people increase awareness of cybersecurity, right? Brand protection, things like that. And I think that's really key, right? Because when we see it, we're able to kind of say, oh, I can follow this person. I can click on their bell. I can read their content, stay up to date, because if I'm somebody that's interested in that or want to see those career paths, right away what it is your brand is.
Oh, go ahead, buddy.
Oh no, I was just going to add to that, David. Like you said, like what you say, that's what you're going to be known for. So you want to like personal brand, whatever you want to be known for.
Yeah,
that's what you want to like post, like be consistent every time, and that will create your personal brand. Just that's a lot of people they have questions about personal branding. It's just like, what do you want to be known for, and you just try to stick with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I always say your headline should represent your goals.
Right.
What it should represent.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, we've talked about the profile a little. Let's shift gears over to content, right? Because so few people actually post. So what are some of your suggestions on content? And I mean, I know that you guys do quite a bit on content. I mean, you guys have a whole bunch of stuff. Mike, you have content on other platforms. You've got the YouTube channel. You've got this book about breaking into cyber. David, you've got the 100 days of the 100-day challenge. Let's talk about those in just a second. But before we get into those, let's talk about about content. Like so many people, I had a team meeting with my team, and I manage a team of really good technology consultants for like 15 states. And yesterday we were talking about social selling. We were talking about LinkedIn, and some of them, and I even said, I go, guys, I'm one of the most active ones of all of us on LinkedIn, and I'm the oldest guy in the room. Like you guys, some of the younger guys should be out there. Like, I want to read your content. I want to hear your stories. And what they said is, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to post. What
Yeah.
what do you guys what guidance do you guys have on that?
It's funny you said you're one of the older guys and you're the only one that posts. My daughter just
Yeah.
found my daughter's 14 and I had to explain to her about 3 weeks ago what LinkedIn even is. She had no clue.
Funny.
You know,
That's funny.
she's like that doesn't sound cool at all. I'm like, So as far as content, so everybody's different, right? So my strategy is I talk to everybody. At least I try to. So you'll find, not in every single post, but I think you'll find in 98% of my posts that I'm talking to everybody. And what I mean is, if anybody who wasn't in tech, if my mom read my post, she would understand what I'm talking about.
Right.
What happens is, as you know, we're techs, we're geeks, right? And we love, like David and I, Meece and I, we could talk tech all day long, packets and Wireshark and all these things. But I'm here as a mentor and hopefully as an educator. So what happens is, if I want to talk about packets all day long, that's great. But I am going to that's going to exclude much of my audience, right? So
Right.
I want to make sure that what I'm putting out there benefits everybody, right? So many people they tend to talk really technical on a platform. So I guess what I'm going to say is talk to everybody, right? Talk about things.
Translate the impact
exactly right.
of the work that we're doing in cybersecurity to people's families, to people's individuals, and then to the organization's brands that they serve. Right.
Yeah. You're exactly right. And then try to educate as well. So all of my posts, I talk to everybody and I try to educate. And once in a while, I try to get a laugh. Right. My wife thinks I'm really lame with that stuff, but just have fun on the platform. And I will say, and because Meece and myself and there's about eight others of us that are like in this group, and we chat every day. We try different things. So what I would tell you is, what Meece does every day might not work well for me, and what Morgan Hamlin does every day might not work well for Dave, because we all have, even though a lot of our audience overlaps, people follow me because they might like some of my content, right? So if I try to just change all of that, well, I'm going to lose my audience, right? If I try to be Meece,
be true to yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Be true to yourself and your audience.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, that's really good. Right. So and there's a lot of places they can get content, right? I mean, there's lists that other people post that you can get and then maybe reshare to your network. Just give them, but be respectful, give them credit. I always do that. Like Morgan Hamlin or David Meece will post some really helpful lists of some resources that are like no cost resources to learn something. I'll be like, have you ever wanted to learn something? Here's a list, and then I'll put credit, David Meece or Morgan Hamlin or Will Broom or one of those people. Like that's fine, and everybody appreciates that. But that's really good, because my audience otherwise wouldn't see that, because I'm not connected to the same people.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Absolutely. And the end goal is to help people, right? So when Meece puts out these lists, or I do, or Morgan does, or whoever, I think the other day I did a share for Qualys. They got a ton of signups from it for these classes. They actually chimed in on the post. Qualys did, but people. My goal is, at the end of the day, people are struggling to get into this field. I mentor people that are, working moms that are working, 2 shifts at a job, and they're putting themselves through school while raising kids, and all they want to do is change fields to be home with their kids and provide a better life. So like whatever I can do to help someone like that break in, like that's my adrenaline rush. So that's what drives me.
Right.
Absolutely.
And talking about content, like coming up with a good, thoughtful question. People ask, like, what can they post each day? Just coming up with a really good question, and that'll get a lot of engagement. For instance, like, talk about imposter syndrome. I made a post here a while back, and there's a lot of people that can resonate with that. And I mean, I suffer with it myself sometimes. I think everyone does.
We all
I think it's pretty common in the cybersecurity field, right?
It is.
Because
I
we're
think
doing
so.
everybody. Yeah, everybody's doing really good work. And what I love about cybersecurity, not to get off topic, but it's a field that has a greater cause. It's a field that is there to protect others. It's the same kind of group that when there's trauma or there's an event, they run toward it, right? They go toward it. There's a certain type of sense of community that you want to help something greater than yourself. And those people are kind of drawn to this field, and it's phenomenal. So okay, before we leave the content discussion, I want to ask a couple more specific questions. When people are posting, right, because we're all trying to figure this out, because sometimes we'll post something and 10 people will look at it. Sometimes we'll post something and thousands of people, and we're like, what did I do there and not there? Like, you're trying to like figure out the magic, right? And so external links, like that's how do we handle those? Because it's really important, right? Because when you think about it, LinkedIn wants to keep us on the platform, right? And so how do we do that? Like in the body of the post, don't link to YouTube or the article that you are citing, right? Is that correct?
Well, it's if we would have had this podcast 4 months ago, I would have said you're spot on. You're exactly right. But this, it's always reversed.
Right.
This guy here and Morgan, right? Both are two people that like I know very well. Morgan, I mentored. She had 160 followers 4 months ago. I mentored her. And now I'm like scared because she's about ready to pass me up on followers. So we got this competition going.
Crazy.
I've told both of them don't share external links, right? But look at them. They're sharing external links. I'm not gonna say I think. I know what it comes down to is, again, it comes down to being able to grab someone's attention, make them interact, enrich their lives in some way. Right. LinkedIn's AI runs off of what I'll just call them signals, right? When LinkedIn sees signals of action on any of our accounts, if they're positive signals, it's going to show it to a slightly wider audience, right? So, for instance, if I make a post and let's say just for round numbers, let's say I have 1,000 followers, right? It's going to show it to maybe 1% of my followers to see how they react to it. If that 1% of my followers don't react well, then that post is done, right? If that 1% reacts well, now it says I'm going to show it to 2%, and then it just grows from there. So it really just comes down to being able to resonate with people. So you're exactly right. As far as external links, I would have told you don't use an external link. I haven't used a single external link until I saw David and Morgan going crazy a couple months ago.
I would have said the same thing 4 or 5 months ago until I started doing it.
Yeah.
And like Mike said, if you can get like enough positive engagement, even if you do have an external link, it'll keep on showing it to more people. And the
first 90 minutes is most important. That first 90 minutes is
the golden hour. 60 minutes.
Yeah. And what about when you're supposed to post? I read the algorithm report and it had all these different timelines. What was interesting is you can post 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. And you guys do. I started posting more on the weekends. I posted even on a Sunday afternoon and got phenomenal engagement. There were so many people on the platform. It was great. Yeah. So posting 7 days a week seems fine, right?
Go ahead.
Do it during business hours, generally between the morning, late morning, early afternoon, generally.
Late morning, I would say. Wednesday or Tuesday through Thursday is the best that I've found. Yeah. But the best 2 days overall, it seems like Tuesdays and Thursdays is what's works best for me personally.
Yeah. And I think he's right. For me, Tuesdays through Thursdays, 10 a.m. Eastern. However, right, we've all proved that wrong so many times. Right. The other thing you have to keep in mind, too, is our audiences. So when I first started, most of my, probably 90% of my audience was US based. Well, now a large percentage of my audience is sleeping when I post. So,
Right.
So I'll make a post, but then, late this evening when they start waking up, then my post gains traction. So,
Right.
but I think overall, if I have if I have a post, I'm like, this is my most important post for the week. It's going to happen Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So
Interesting.
if I'm doing a podcast, it's going to happen Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. That's been, I've only ever done a few, but I did a couple LinkedIn audio events that went nuts. But
I was on one of those. You guys had like several hundred, and it was just an audio event. It was just
an audio event. Yep.
That was phenomenal.
Which is a whole other strategy. I'll probably hit here in the new year. But yeah, it's there's just so much you can do.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And let's so that's really good. That's really good to learn. And one thing I get asked a lot is images versus video. Is any insight on the algorithm or your experience? Is there one better than the other? Or
I would say images and selfies all the way. Because I've noticed, like, whenever I copy and paste just an image of any other kind, the algorithm, it doesn't work as well. Videos, to me, I've not had as much luck on videos. I think pictures.
Because you got to dance. You got to start dancing.
Real pictures.
You got to start. You got to step it up. Start dancing, Meece. It works.
Yeah, exactly.
maybe I should.
and I'm going to take what he said, and I'm going to talk about the selfie thing for a minute. So a year ago, when I started doing this, and I hate the word selfie, but when I started putting selfies on LinkedIn, I had mixed reactions. Right. The reason that I have moved forward with that is, so one, I always try to have my MO is long form posts that are going to take you 60 minutes to read, right? One picture. I'm not saying this is the right strategy, but this has been mine, and a selfie. The reason I've stayed with the pictures is because I've literally had people tell me, Mike, I read your messages on LinkedIn, and I truly feel like you're talking to me. They said, I feel like you're looking at me. I've had people tell me that they've kept going in their career, and people send me messages like, hey, I won the job over. Thank you so much for being that positive force. I feel like you've been talking to me throughout my journey. So that's why I do it. It's not to be, I'm not a pretty guy, right? So, I just want people to realize that I'm real, right? I'm not a guy that's just, sitting back behind a desk or hiding or whatever. So
that's phenomenal. So at some point, you've been doing this for a while, and at some point somebody said, why don't you write a book? Right. And so do you mind sharing with everybody your book, break into the world of cyber?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. So my book is 25 years of my brain, which isn't that impressive, which is why it's only 60 pages, right? It's only 60 pages. But my book does two things. The first one is tells you how to break into this field, right? Tells you kind of the ins and outs, stuff that you might not necessarily think about. Doesn't matter if you have IT experience, if you have no experience. The first section of my book talks about how to get into this field. Second section of my book talks about branding, right? It says, okay, you've developed these skills, and now it's time to show the world your skills. So it's basically how to take there's no secrets. It's literally, just a book of what I've done, with my LinkedIn account, what I've learned, what works, what doesn't work, to take your account from, 0 to 100 mile an hour. And it works. I don't use tricks. It's all about organic things, right? So what my book does is it kind of gives you a step-by-step on how my brain thinks, which is scary. But kind of from A to Z, how to get into cyber, but then how to pursue your actual career, with using your LinkedIn profile as your insurance policy to make sure that you have, that you always have work. So
yeah, absolutely. And it is a phenomenal book. It's a great playbook. It's a great
thanks.
both components are key, and branding is so important. When you think about all the experiences that somebody gains in their life, when you go into a meeting with somebody important that matters to you, you don't necessarily get to share all of that experience with them, right? And there's so much more that you have to offer. When they go and check you out, they're going to look on LinkedIn and they will check you out, whether
Absolutely.
later, whether in prep for the meeting or after the meeting. I track my own metrics, and we're at like over 80% of everybody I meet with has looked at my LinkedIn, right?
Absolutely.
So I want them to be able to say, hey, we talked about this, but wow, he's got experience on this, this, and this, right?
Yep.
And by being able to brand yourself and have that there, it really helps. It helps for
Absolutely.
two reasons. It'll help everybody in their current role, right? It'll help you professionally, etc. And then should something happen and you go and you want to apply somewhere else, it will help them get to know the 360 degrees of who you are when
Yep.
you're applying.
Absolutely right. I've posted about this, and it's caused a lot of debate. But in my opinion, the resume's dying. Right. I had my own company. I was acquired in February, sold to another company. But when I was hired, I can tell you, I would get a slew of resumes. I would look at those resumes for about 30 seconds. I'm going to jump right on LinkedIn to see who the heck you are. Right. So your profile.
That's exactly what I do, because I hire team members every single quarter, and that's the one thing I do. Like the resume is okay, but it's just a small snapshot of who the person can be. I get a really good view on LinkedIn of who they are.
And people wait until, like, when I'm mentoring people, I tell them I'm going to send you down two paths at the same time in parallel. I'm going to send you down a skills learning path to learn what you need to learn to get into the field or to up your game. But then I'm going to teach you how to brand at the same time, because what most people do is they'll work on their skills, right? Get a job or then say, okay, now I need to brand and get myself out there. Or they're already in the field. They wait till they lose their job. And then they say, okay, how can I use LinkedIn to, but if you've waited, it's already too late. So
yeah, it's hard to develop a brand overnight.
Yeah.
And so you're sharing some of this stuff, talking about branding, you're sharing some of the stuff on your YouTube channel. So walk us through what and I like on your YouTube channel, you have that intro video where you like talk to somebody right when they enter.
Thanks. Well, I'm trying to get to the Kevin level, which I know he's hanging out in here. He's phenomenal. I hit him up for advice every couple of weeks.
Is it this Kevin right here?
Oh yeah. Kevin A. I just call him Kevin A. So
Kevin A.
I say Kevin A.
Welcome, Kevin.
But so I started the YouTube channel. It's a little softer side of me, I guess. Sometimes a little less serious. But again, my videos are I have two strategies. So I dove into LinkedIn a year and 2 months ago. I went all in on a platform to see what I could do. So starting in October 2 months ago, I said, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing on YouTube. I'm going to dive in for a year and see what I can do. So I'm using two strategies. I'm doing shorts, which are sometimes just funny, goofy shorts to, take the edge off of your day. Then I'm also doing long form videos as well. But it's been a blast. I don't even have 1,000 subscribers yet. I need Kevin's help on that. So
that's hilarious. That's great. I love it. That's fantastic. And then, so David, tell us about the. One thing that I saw that David and his whole group does, right, are these social Saturdays where people connect up on LinkedIn. Tell us about that, and then tell us about your 100-day challenge.
Oh yeah, I really enjoy doing the social link ups because you get to meet so many different people in the industry, and people can keep coming back each week and like reconnecting and like finding more people in the industry to connect to. And as far as my Cyber Tech Dave 100 Days of Cyber Challenge, that's something that I wanted to come up with to help people. That way they can post every single day, like for 100 days. I tell
That'll
people,
make an impact. Yeah, that'll really make an impact.
oh yeah, I've had a lot of people reach out and say that it's had a really impact on them, give them more like confidence levels. And I tell people they can ride, like, it don't matter like what level you are. I built this mostly for people like trying to get into the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But so what I tell people is like to write about your journey. You know, like Mike said earlier, you know, you could post about like what I did, post about security plus stuff, like stuff you're learning, you know, each day. Try Hack Me is a really good platform.
Mm-hmm.
You know, post every day something that you learn on that each day. Just I just tell people, you know, to have fun with it, and but I do that. I do that usually, typically each weekend too. You know, I kind of post either on a Saturday or Sunday. I'll post my challenge, you know, for people that's just recently connected to me. That way they can do the challenge as well. And I've got I started this challenge probably about about 5 months ago, something like that. And I've got like over like 1,000 people following it so far. And then I've had like probably like 100 or so people that's actually like doing the challenge.
That's
So
phenomenal.
I'm really happy for
when
that.
when they do the challenge, they post for LinkedIn once a day for 100 days, and when
Mm-hmm.
they put in that hashtag, right? The Cyber Tech Dave 100 Days of Cyber Challenge, and then they walk through their story. I've actually followed several people, and I love it because they were either in a role or they were searching for a role, and then they get the role, and then how they're advancing in that role, and you kind of just see it. It's really interesting.
Oh yeah, and it gets you in front of a lot of people too. I mean, if you actually post every single day, you know, you're going to get
Oh yeah.
recruiters.
Well, again, vast majority of people never post, right? They just consume. So by posting, you know, some meaningful content that's helpful, that's positive, etc., for 100 days, that's going to get you known.
Oh yeah, if you actually follow it, people that's actually like followed it, they've had good, seem like pretty good results with it. So
yeah, that's phenomenal.
I just want to help, you know, help as many people as we can. So
just enrich people's lives. That's what it's about.
Yep. Yeah, I love this. One thing before as we wrap up, gentlemen, I want to mention this. So LinkedIn, it actually has a scheduler too. So you can, there's a native, I know that there's a lot of apps. I know several people on the platform, Lester Cheng that we talked to, he had posted some things about some other apps that will help you schedule your social media post. But apparently, is this true? Like LinkedIn has a new native scheduler available. So there was an article written about it in socialmediatoday.com. So we've got that posted on
just
the
come out.
Yeah,
it's been out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So before we go, I want to ask. So Mike, LinkedIn flew you out to California to I saw those posts and I was like, what? Like, that's such a great story. You're like, okay, I'm not really involved in LinkedIn. All right, I'm going to get involved. And like within a year, they're flying you out to like come train on it. What was the experience like, and what's your session going to be about?
Yeah, again, it's just the power of the platform. You know, I had 200 followers a year
That's a
year and
phenomenal
change.
story.
And you know, I haven't done anything special on the platform except just try to be myself. And so it caught some visibility over time. And a lady by the name of Alyssa Pratt from LinkedIn reached out to me and said, "Hey, Mike, we'd love to have you come and do a course for us." And it's a course on security auditing. You know, what you need to do to become a security auditor and about that type of career and so on. So yeah, they contacted me probably 6-7 months ago. I had to write the scripts and everything. And it's like they flew me out when I landed at the airport. I landed in Santa Barbara. When I landed at the airport and walked out, there was a convertible white Mustang sitting there for me that I got to drive for the week. So, because I got to take that to the beach and all that kind of stuff.
That's phenomenal. Way to go, LinkedIn.
And dude, it was just a blast. Their headquarters was phenomenal. Their whole campus there. They have their own chefs. They feed you like you can't spend $1 there on campus. You just swipe your badge, and so I'm already hoping to go back out. So it's just been
phenomenal.
Yeah. I will say the LinkedIn family out there is just it was the best live experience I've ever had.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right, well, gentlemen, thank you so much. This was really good insight. I mean, I think that we've really I got a lot of answers, a lot of questions in my mind answered by you two gentlemen. If anybody else has any other questions, reach out, connect with Mike Miller, David Meece. Also feel free to connect with me, David Morrow, as well as our podcast, Cybercrime Junkies. We're here to help you guys. We're here to promote the community. So we're really, really excited about you guys being here, and thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. We appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And I'll say for everybody here, David Morrow, I watch you every day. The stuff you're doing on the platform, you're growing too. So keep doing what you're doing, man. You're making a serious impact.
Well, thank you so much.
We appreciate you having us on, and the same, to you. Best of luck. Yeah, you're definitely growing. So
yeah, it's fun to watch.
Very kind. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it.